Celtics Talk Podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com. 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Celtics Talk Podcast here on the NBC Sports Boston Podcast Network. Coming to you as the streaking Celtics just dominate everybody inside, especially the Greensboro Swarm. Got B-Robb here alongside. We were just talking over on his pod, the Winning Plays pod, about everything that's going right with the Celtics. So we're not going to rehash that. We're gonna talk about like some fun stuff, including Luke Kornet's crazy celebrations. We also got an interview with Derrick White coming up. He talks about throwing lobs to Blake and having fun. But B-Robb, I want to start here because that building got pretty loud on Monday night when Blake. not only when Blake went up and dunked that ball, but then when Luke was throwing down dunks. How much fun is it just in that building watching these guys do what they're doing?
It's electric. And I mean, I've been covering games at the Garden for 10 plus years now. It's hard to find on a night to night basis the crowd being as excited for a team as they are right now for this group. And I think that speaks to just the level they're playing at, the unselfishness we're seeing, and also the fun cast of characters that are, on this team, not just obviously in the starting five, but guys like Blake Griffin, Luke Kornet off the bench, Peyton Pritchard, obviously being, a little Energizer bunny coming off the bench as well. And so it seems like everyone's getting a turn every night, and that's making everyone, the crowd just eating it up.
It really is crazy. I mean, Peyton Pritchard gets louder ovations than some of the starters when he's brought into games. And like you said, that's kind of telling. I want to start with the Luke dunk because the celebration. So he's already hit us with the moose ears. He did the 3-point goggles, which I can't really get going here. Thank God this is a video podcast. So if you're listening on the audio version, you didn't just see me put my hands all over my face. But last night he hits us with the Stromile bird. 1 to 10, Luke's celebration game. Where are you going?
12. And it's just for how outrageous it is, and it's just embracing the awkward fun, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what his, and he's so, and he kind of eats it up after the game too, talking about it. But you can just tell when the bench reacts the way they do to Luke, it's like, okay, this is they know he's trying to entertain the guys essentially, and he's doing it well. But a Stromile Swift reference. I mean, I just forgot him as a basketball player in general. Right. And you think about the generation of where he came up now, and it's where, not only making us feel really old, but that's just hilarious that's a very random NBA reference guy to come up like that.
Right. So I thought it was so random. What I did today is I called Stromile Swift.
Oh,
and he was quite amused. But here's the funny part. It turns out he's already a Celtics fan because he's down near Shreveport, Louisiana, right near my guy Rob Williams grew up, and they have mutual connections. A trainer that worked with Rob was a teammate with Stromile Swift. So he said he was already bouncing around on League Pass last night, and then his phone started blowing up. And of course he just leaned right into it. He now coaches a high school basketball team down there. And ironically, he says half his players don't even know his past history. So they don't even know about the bird or his dunks and all that. I suspect that the Stromile Swift YouTube highlights got a lot of run today. And he was just really delighted that he got to come back into the NBA orbit. Because just like you said, it's the most random of call outs. And so just to give some background, and Luke talked about it in the locker room after the game, but essentially, I think last year some of their trainers were calling Grant Stromile Swift, because I don't know he's not as big as Stromile, but the athleticism is what Grant was trying to suggest. And so, but my favorite part of that interview was when they said to Luke, what do you have in common with Stromile? And he said, explosive athleticism. Next question.
And that part of it to me is just when Luke is setting up stuff like that, it's all right, this is when you can do the celebration on the floor and have that kind of response with the media off the floor, then that's a true tale of someone who's playing it up and saying the right things and doing the right things on the floor just to create the fun environment that we're seeing this team play with right now.
I mean, can you remember the last time the vibes were this good? I started thinking about, like, okay, in general, we talked about this on your pod. Like, when was the team this good in terms of just like world-beating offensive and like juggernaut? And you probably have to go back to 2009 before KG got hurt, right? Like 27-2 to start. I see a lot of similarities in just like taking care of business and how good they are. In terms of personality and gelling, well, we're certainly not the 2019 Celtics, but like 2015-16 IT years are we trending towards, but that was like more of a scrappy overachieving.
Yeah, right.
Like,
that was Isaiah going nuts those years. Right.
And then even like this, right?
No, it's kind of, you feel like the second half of last year, I guess a little bit but nothing like this offensively from that group. And then they had, I think, was it 17-18? They had 16 in a row that first year before, once after Gordon got hurt. But again, those games, that was like squeaking out a lot of tight battles here, not the type of domination that we're seeing here for most of this stretch. So yeah, I think you have to go back to 08-09 in terms of that level of where they're getting to, where they're just, blowing the doors off teams before halftime in a lot of these games.
The question I had watching Monday's game against the Greensboro Swarm was, what's going through Gordon Hayward's mind? Is he thinking like, oh, this is what 2019 could have been? Or like what when Kyrie said it's going to be crazy, G, is this what he meant? Like this could have been what it was?
It's sad to say. And it's a situation where I don't know if is he the most like snake bitten player in the league crazy. At this point?
I couldn't believe he was traveling.
Right. And just like every single part of his body, I feel like has taken, had some kind of major ankle. I feel like he had some type of like knee issue that took him out for part of, or calf. Yeah. And so it's just, you're right. This is when he came to Boston, when you make that kind of a move at that stage of his career, you hope that he would have been front and center all this now. And that obviously didn't work out here for those couple years. And now with a Charlotte team, you had, some really promising times early on there. And now it's just a situation where it seems like it's only a matter of time before they deal him somewhere else if he gets back healthy on the floor. But to the Celtics credit, I guess, on this, and I'm going to be writing about this a little bit this week at Mass Live, was like the Gordon Hayward sign and trade fallout in terms of, turning down that Miles Turner part of the equation, then eventually turning that into Derrick White here with the way he's played this season. It took a lot of dominoes to fall to kind of get to the final end result there in terms of how they managed that and maneuvered their way to that player. But he looks just as much of a perfect fit as anyone on this team right now.
It is crazy. Even Indiana ended up in a better situation, albeit like ironically with Malcolm Brogdon coming to Boston, and we'll see what happens with Miles Turner and all the Lakers rumors and stuff like that. But yeah, it is fascinating that it did take a while, took some unsorting, and it didn't always feel like they made the right steps along the way. But I mean, I just keep giving a lot of credit to Brad for putting the right pieces together in terms of like, he inherited talent. I mean, it undeniable. Danny deserves so much credit for the draft of Jayson, Jaylen, Robb, Marcus, like all that. And then Brad comes in and just sort of says, okay, how do we tinker around the fringes? What drove me nuts as a coach? Like, how can I empower these guys and make them better out there, and getting Derrick and getting Brogdon for a trade that NBA 2K would reject has really solidified it.
Kick off fall with game-winning deals at Route 9 Nissan.
Lease a new Rogue Sport for $289 a month. That's right, just $289 a month.
Score your game-winning deal now and visit today or online anytime at Route9NissanAuto.com.
We're kicking off fall with big savings at State Line Subaru.
Like a new Subaru Crosstrek. Drive home for just $299 a month. That's right, only $299.
Score big savings today. State Line Subaru, a driver's best friend.
One of the conversations we were having that I thought I wanted to bring over here as well is, and this Derrick plays into this because it was the last guy we got to, but like, so the Celtics are going to have two All-Stars, and Jaylen and Jayson will be those guys. I was kind of joking with you. I said, who's number 3? And Marcus was the first guy that popped to mind based on the way he's running the offense right now and how good he's been. You kind of threw back Derrick, but it was kind of crazy. We've been throwing around like you could go through 5 different guys at this point.
You really could. you wouldn't be wrong in any of them, whether it's Al Horford, Brogdon's third in points, 14 points per game, like shooting almost 50% from the field. If he was playing, and he's only playing 22 minutes per game, if he was playing like start 11 minutes, that would be all-star type numbers. So there's 3 players that if they were playing the necessary minutes, I think would be in that conversation there. And that, again, is a kind of tribute to the type of balance this team has right now, where even if there's rare off nights for anyone in the lineup, but even when they do come up, there's 3 or 4 other guys ready to step in and, give the scoring punch this group needs around the Jays.
And I told you the third All-Star should be Sam Hauser, based on net rating and output.
Can we get Luke Kornet in a
yes!
close competition or something? Like get
So,
him involved in All-Star weekend.
I do need to make all the listeners that feel bad. We did a Luke Kornet episode a few weeks ago, and the comments were, "Can't believe you're wasting all this time on a guy who doesn't play," and oh, he's got a good personality. Yeah, right. Like I feel like we hit the nail on the head on what would happen with the Luke Kornet experience. But I'll admit too, I did not expect him to be this impactful and this steady and that good. And it all goes back to it. Brad made all the right moves. It wasn't just getting Brogdon. It was getting Luke and waiting it out with Sam and unearthing that gem, something that the team hasn't really been good at over the years. Getting a Blake Griffin who has just fit in seamlessly and been a good veteran presence. So just a lot going right for this team. You brought it up, like Derrick White, because we're going to get to the interview with him. How important has he been for this team? And what stood out most about his sort of comfort level going from last year and his head spinning and coming on midstream to what you see this year?
I mean, first and foremost has to be the jump shot. I think he put in a lot of work this offseason with Ben Sullivan and other Celtics assistants to, just gain the confidence there that I think came and went throughout last year's postseason. So him being at 45% from 3 on 4 attempts per game, that's a number that, it's probably gonna be tough to sustain that, but it's just such a huge jump from his career average. And with the looks he's getting in this offense, it's hard to see that number fading as much. But to me, beyond that, I think it's just like the pace he plays with. He just is the up-tempo guy that can, for Joe Mazzulla, who wants his team to move, to get into half court sets early, so there's multiple options every night. Like White kind of is a great engine for that, whether it's starting or coming off the bench. And so for him to, be able to be the engine for that offense at times, while, sometimes he needs to score, some nights he just needs to defend. He's there if you need him, but he can do the other little things if not. So just to have that kind of a player that can, fill all those holes like that, it's pretty crucial for a team like this.
Let's end on this because I'll have my nightly recap pods from these games, but I won't have a chance to dive into the upcoming West Coast trip until we're midstream here next week. And what would be an acceptable? So let's just say best case scenario, they can certainly go 2-0 against the Heat. Those home and homes or home and home, whatever you want to call it. Now, it's not a back-to-back, and it's not a home-to-home, but the series here, you just assume more likely than not they'll split. That aside, what would be a good West Coast trip, given how difficult that trip is going to be? You pointed out 2 back-to-backs on that trip, having to go to Golden State in a big finals rematch, playing Phoenix. What are your expectations for that trip out west?
I think at this point, 4-2 is a good trip. I think it honestly might be low expectations given if they continue this level of play right now. There's beyond the Phoenix Suns, there are no juggernauts on that trip. Like the Lakers are losing at home to the Pacers. The Clippers can't keep Kawhi Leonard or Paul George on the floor right now. And the Warriors, they're a juggernaut at home, but they're, obviously the Celtics will have, you know what they're walking into there. But yeah, I think you're going to have to be without Al Horford for at least 2 of those games. And with the level of travel, you're starting on rarely do you see a trip A this long, and B, the fact you play 2 games in the Eastern Atlantic time zone before you even go out there. So it's a tough ask, but they've built in a nice cushion for themselves here, where even if they come back 500 there, it's, no big deal.
It's crazy that normally you would say 4-2 and it would sound like a bold, strong prediction. And yet you sit there and you're like, no, that based on the way they played, they probably should be even better. But yeah, I'd be very interested. Just you got to go play scrappy Toronto, like with those long bodies, and they're going to make you work. And then you got to go have the hoopla with Brooklyn just because Kyrie and everything that goes along with it. Then fly out west and play some, grind through Phoenix and those games, and then go to Golden State and then go to LA. So I think we'll learn a little bit more about this team. But like I said, it shouldn't temper no matter how it plays out. Like this team has shown. Like I think a quarter of the season is a long enough sample to say like they're pretty damn good. But eager to see it ramp up. And I mean, I made it through 14 minutes and 40 seconds of a podcast without mentioning Rob Williams. But I'll just sit on that till next time. All right, B-Robb, I need to throw it over here. I got a chance to sit down with Derrick White the other night. We're going to talk about his improved play. We're going to talk about throwing lobs to Blake, and maybe, just maybe, about how he kind of Ben Simmons the layup the other night and how he feels about it. Here's our chat with Derrick White. All right, Derrick, I want to start with this. Game against the Hornets, you throw that lob up to Blake. What goes through your mind in that moment?
I mean, in warm-ups, he came up to me and said, if you get a chance, throw it up. So I was like, all right, cool. And that was the opportunity there, and just throw it up, and he went and got it. So it was a lot of fun, and hopefully we can do some more. I
mean, he's 33 now. Is there any, hesitation in your mind or do you just know? Have you seen it in practice? Is he still able to? I mean, I guess he showed it.
Yeah. I mean, in warm-ups, he'll throw it off the glass and still dunk it and do some things like that. So, it's there, and just got to throw it and let him do with the rest.
When everything's going like that in a game, that first half, everything was clicking. How does that feel? Do you know you guys are just on another level in a moment like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of fun. We're playing well. Everybody's involved. Everybody's doing what they need to do, and it's just having a lot of fun and just playing with a lot of joy.
What is it like when Luke Kornet's doing the crazy celebrations? And now he's saying it was an homage to Stromile Swift today. Can you help me through this?
That kid, Luke, is the best. He's an amazing human being, and you just love to see him do well. So I love the Stromile Swift, the three-point celebrations, whatever it might be.
Moose antlers at one point he did.
Yeah, he's unbelievable, so it's a lot of fun out there.
How much fun are you? Because those end of the bench guys were having fun during the run last year, but your head must have been spinning, right? Coming here and just trying to get settled. How much more fun is it when you're getting to watch this and as it's going on?
Yeah, it's been a blast. I mean, I'm much more settled in this year. I know everything. I know everybody, and we're just having a lot of fun out there playing and competing, and we all have the same goal in mind, and we understand that, but we're just going to have a lot of fun with it while we're doing it.
Did I see your dad was in town?
Yeah.
What's that like having family? How often have they been able to get out here?
This is the first time this year they came out to see Hendricks, nice. Spend some time with him, and I mean, they're here for, I think, 5 games, so hopefully we can get a lot of wins for them. It's always good to play in front of people that see me for my first games till now, so a lot of love for them.
Do you follow your dad's social media?
I do.
What's it like? Because he's beating me to your advanced tracking numbers on defense and stuff like that. Do you have to go, Dad, tone it down? What's that conversation like?
I mean, he's been doing this for years. I mean, even when I was in college, he was doing stuff like that. So it's really the dad I know. I mean, some people are trying to figure out what he means by everything. He doesn't really speak exact English, but it's all out of love for me, for the team, and he just wants to see me do well, so I let him have fun with it.
I respect it. Again, he's digging into the numbers. He's got your possession data. Yeah. I really enjoy it. I'm
good, worried, bad, he'll let me know, and I mean, that's just how it is.
I'm worried he's going to take my job, so you might need to reel him in a little bit. Blake did get 2 charges tonight. Are you worried about him catching you for the team lead?
I'm not worried, but I mean, those are big plays, and I mean, it's good to see Blake do so well. I mean, he's done a great job even without getting the minutes and everything, so it's good to see that happen.
You went over to an event the other day with the Celtics, and I think you guys were bowling. Mm-hmm. Who was the best bowler on the team?
It was me, Blake, and Peyton. Okay. Out of the 3 of us, because it was candlestick bowling, so it wasn't the exact same as real bowling, but I think Blake
I come from a part of the world where candlepin was like the thing. Had you ever candlepin bowled before?
I have never done it before, and I couldn't get a strike, so that was really what frustrated me. I was just chucking it down there, though. I might have to go back and try again, but I think Blake might have been the best out of the 3 of us. there were some kids there though that were really good. So shout out to those kids.
Do you ever feel bad about beating a child in like an athletic endeavor?
No, but I mean, it was just a fun event. Glad the kids and the families that were there. I mean, they're going through major things, real life problems that we haven't dealt with. So I was just happy they had a good time, had fun.
Nice. I don't want to bring up bad things, but you kind of Ben Simmons the layup tonight. Like, did anyone give you some grief? Did you hear like there was audible groans?
That was bad. I was surprised I was that open. I thought somebody would come over, but yeah, that was bad.
All right.
My boy texted me about it already, and I've been hearing about it. So,
are your friends like honest with you? Because like, that's the best part about my friends. They'll be brutally honest with me. They're like, "You suck" on TV. So like, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
Are they?
They're honest with me. Yeah, that was bad. They don't need to say much. I already know that was. I don't know what I was thinking.
All right, let's talk nicknames. Do you have a preference on yours? Do you know what people call you? Buffalo. Because of Colorado.
Yeah, the Buffalo.
Are you cool with that, or like do we need to workshop a better nickname?
I mean, that's cool with me. I got a lot of love for CU, so
nice.
To represent that. But I mean, I'm sure there's other creative people out there that can think of new ones.
All right, and last thing, just basketball nerd related. Why are you so good on transition defense? Is that something you like put time and effort into? Like, it's really hard when people are backpedaling to be good at that, and you seem to have a special knack for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of always had that knack to kind of get the stop. I don't know. I kind of good backpedaling on defense, so try to not to foul, make a tough shot, take a charge, whatever it might be. So just try to get a stop however I can.
All right. Well, I'm gonna work on that nickname for you, but we'll
appreciate it.
And again, reeling your dad a little bit. Thank you, Derrick.
Shout out Ramblin' Wreck.
All right, good stuff from Derrick. I like that he let his guard down and admitted that, hey, sometimes you make a mistake out there and you just got to own it. And I like that Derrick's friends were busting his chops about not getting that layup. But to his credit, he's right. He didn't expect to be that open. All right, we're going to be back all this week. There's no shortage of games coming up. 2 against Miami, the big road trip. The post-game pods will be flowing. Go like, subscribe. Check out these midweek episodes on the YouTube page. We'll catch you next time on the Celtics Talk Podcast.